It's great to be back out on the practice field again. The start of fall camp is always one of the more exciting days of the year. There's a lot of them, but transitioning from summer workouts where we've had a chance to see the guys do quite a bit, bring the freshmen in and have a chance to see them do a little bit, to now putting it out on the practice field. Exciting day, knowing that. Each day now is definitely leading up to what's in front of us in that first game down in New Mexico. But I like the guys' energy, excitement today. I think we got a group that's demonstrated a focus that we need. Living in the moment, living day by day. I'm sure a lot of the guys spoke to the 1-0 mentality each day, and not getting far ahead of ourselves. And we've lived in that world going back to January when this team essentially started, and whether it's been the winter, the spring, the summer, and now the fall, that's the mode we need to stay in. Do everything you can to do what you can that day, and keep moving forward. So enjoy this group. It's a group that brings the right attitude to the field, the right hunger, and today is just the starting point as far as us being able to get a barometer of where we're at as a football team.
Yesterday, Rylan mentioned this team being very player-led with 23 of them seniors. So I guess, can you speak to that and the veterans and really each position group on this team?
Yeah, anytime you have 23 seniors, I think it's an advantage that you hope plays out over the course of a season. With numbers comes just that much more experience. We had 12 seniors last year, and that group of 12, did everything they could, but there was only 12 of them. So there's definitely strength in numbers. I think this group has a variety of guys that have been here for quite some time. Certainly some new faces that we've added the last couple of years. So a lot of different perspectives. All the position groups are covered within this senior group. So yeah, they've taken the lead going back to January, and they'll obviously need to continue to do that.
Yeah, yesterday Blake mentioned you guys doing specific practices for overtime situations. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I think as a coach, you're always looking to evolve and respond to things that you might have been short-sighted in the past. So yeah, as we go through fall camp, we'll practice overtime. We've done some things along those lines, but I think to literally practice it. We got in an overtime game last year, and it ended abruptly. But I think with the overtime rules and how it quickly can become a 2-point contest, I think we need more work in that area. And it wasn't that game was even decided in that regard, our last game. But I do think we're gonna pay more attention to it, and just getting our guys in competitive, result-oriented situations as we go through camp is a piece of that too.
So Sean Chambers out there, what is his role, or is that just temporary? What is he doing?
No, Sean had a chance. He went down to Carolina. Wasn't really sure what he would do post that opportunity. He didn't get the playing opportunity that he had maybe desired. So I think he regrouped for a little while. Contacted me shortly thereafter and said coaching is the direction he did want to go. I know he was thinking about it before, but in the finality of your career coming to an end, he maybe didn't have it quite sorted out. So he's back. He just joined us really this week, and he's gonna be an analyst / assistant quarterbacks coach, help Coach Walker out, and certainly help Tommy and Jordan and Patrick and Chance out as much as he can too.
Jordan Reed, his release seems a lot quicker. Just something I noticed. Is that something he worked on in the offseason, or you guys worked on specifically?
Well, he's gifted. I know that's one of the things that he does possess, and beyond the physical, I hope what showed up in the first day is him seeing things quicker. I think it's the two things have to work together. So he does have the ability to get the ball in his hands fast and maybe different than anyone else. But seeing it and knowing where to go and being confident with that is a huge piece that I don't think is complete by any means. So I hope in day one when we're pretty simple on offense, pretty simple on defense, that did show up.
I think after the spring game, you mentioned you guys might be potentially open to bringing in another kicker. I guess just what does that situation look like with Brendan and Casey?
Yeah, so as we begin fall camp, we're not dedicating any place kicking time these first few days. A few days down the road, we are bringing in 2 additional kickers, so we'll have a competition that will take place over the course of a couple weeks, leading up really until our New Mexico prep starts. And you know, ideally the cream will rise to the top, and whoever that is, that is. I know the intention is still not to place kick Brendan, except for longer range situations potentially. Yeah, so I'll give you a little bit more information on what that looks like as we get to it, but we feel pretty good about our ability to dedicate that over 2 weeks and really take focus at it, because obviously we can't kick out here in the grass. We don't play on grass. We don't have goalposts out here, so you know, we're going to find ways to let that competition play out when we're in the stadium. When we do have our, you know, the whole team being able to surround that, and that's, you know, a couple days lead up to that.
And still planning on Brendan for punt and kickoff.
Oh, absolutely, yes, yeah. He's the best in the country at both, so yeah.
One new face is Ryan King. Can
Yeah.
you speak to his addition?
Yeah, Ryan was a late addition. You know, when we had one departure after spring ball, we had an opportunity to bring a new receiver in. Took some time. Ryan was coming from East Carolina. I had been at Georgia Tech before that. He had classes that took him all the way, you know, through the summer to get his degree from East Carolina, so that delayed that process a little bit. But I think through May and June, we got a chance to get to know him. Brought him on campus at the tail end of June. You know, really like what he could potentially bring. He's played in the ACC at Georgia Tech. I think East Carolina's Conference USA, maybe American, hard telling these days. But he's played at that level, and he's got good length. He runs well. I think his range to catch the ball is really good. He's only been with us for a couple weeks on the workout side, so you know, he's getting integrated, you know, as quickly as possible. But we do, you know, he's going to have a chance to factor in, you know, maybe in particular at the X spot, but you know, like what he potentially brings to us.
Who's the receiver after spring ball that left? You mentioned it.
No.
Oh, not right. Yeah. Been a while.
The running back group, a lot of returning talent there. I guess what do you see out of them?
Yeah, really liked how that group moved along in the spring, and that's the continued improvement of the guys that have really played, and Scott Trey and Jared and Elijah, and then the press of you know, 2 true freshmen last year, Adam Jones and Colson Kuhn. So in that group, and that's not to mention Julius, I think we have a really deep group. We add Ontario Latin Henley to the group, and it's, you know, that's a position typically guys can come in and show what they can do immediately. So, you know, we got 7 capable guys. We've moved Marquis back to running back being his home base, so to speak. Not that he won't still return and be able to do some other things. So, you know, ultimately out of that group, we need production, we need depth, we need some change of pace in that group too. And you know, as you go through that group, I think we have that and have it in spades. So excited for them to come along. You know, their time to shine is going to be on Saturdays. We don't do a lot in fall camp, but we'll do enough to hopefully sort that, you know, that competition out. But we really need that group to shine on Saturdays.
And then you mentioned Marquis there. He's bounced around a couple times. What makes running back kind of the best spot?
Well, I think by default he ended up there in 22. Really showed some good things, and I just think based on his skill set, it's a better starting point. You know, finding places for him in the receiver room, it was challenging last year. So I think you look at what that means, and shoot, it'll be challenging at running back. We got a lot of depth, but being able to utilize his skill set on offense is something that we would like to be able to do. Getting him geared up in the return game is the main priority, but he's been, you know, a weapon with the ball in his hands, and we got to find a few ways to do that.
And then just, I guess, injury outlook at the start of fall camp.
Well, I think we're in a decent place. We have a few things, let's call it lingering from the summer. By and large, the injuries that occurred in the fall, You know, we had a few knees in that mix. I mean, they're all guys those guys are back on the field. So I think we feel good about where our health is at. You're never going to be in a perfect place. You know, obviously we're hoping for, you know, the best of, I guess, luck, whatever, as we go through fall camp. But I think continuing to, you know, fortify your depth allows for football to, you know, take hold a little bit, because we have to be able to practice. We got to be able to do the things that we can, and you know, and ideally we go down to Albuquerque as healthy and deep as possible.
Drew and Julie's, I think, missed some time in the spring. And,
Yeah.
Out there.
Yeah, they're out right now. You know, the best I can say is, you know, this month will be pretty slow for both of them. They'll transition this month, meaning we're not even in August, but August will be pretty slow. Ideally, you know, we'll have a little better sense when we hit September where they're both going to be at.
Jordan Walsh, I don't believe we've talked to you since he joined the team. So what can you say about adding him and how he's been so far?
Yeah, you know, Chucky Keaton leaving and getting the opportunity when he did wasn't ideal, but it did provide an opportunity. I think by that time, I think it was apparent to me that moving Tyler to quarterbacks would be our best move, and ultimately, you know, continuing to put our staff together at that point in time was the way I was looking at it. Not who's the best quarterbacks guy necessarily that might be out there to replace Chucky. So making that move with Tyler was a key component then to opening the tight end position. Jordan and I worked together in 2020 at the University of Wyoming, so I had a good sense for who he was as a person, his work ethic, and you know, he from there moved back to Iowa and GA'd there, and then he got an opportunity to coach tight ends at Eastern Illinois last year. So, and we'd stayed in touch. So I think his continued those opportunities he got to continue to grow as a coach, and then, you know, coaching the tight end position last year at Eastern Illinois, you know, made me feel, you know, real comfortable adding him to the staff. And you know, so far, you know, he hit the ground running back in May as our guys were just finishing up the semester. You know, it's been a great addition to the staff.
What do you see as kind of his best traits as a tight ends coach?
Well, I think coming from Iowa, I don't know that there's any school better known for tight end play, tight end production, and so he gets that piece to it. Even though he was an offensive lineman there, and when he was there, you know, he worked on the offensive line side. So I think, yeah, his strength would lie, you know, maybe more on the blocking side. But having coached the tight ends last year, I think he expanded that, you know, his ability to coach the route side of things. Very intelligent and no nonsense, and you know, I guess really looking forward to him, you know, bringing, you know, all the things that he can from his experience, not only as a player at Iowa, but then, you know, his years as a coach now.